welcome everyone to another broadcast of The Soul of the Everyman on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past shows are archived. You can find them at ArtistFirst.com. Send us an email to dj@ArtistFirst.com. And now here they are, Michael and Margaret Lyons.
Thank you very much, Z-Man. And tonight's show will be a mystery. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to tell you who I am.
Oh, we'll start off that way.
You're going to have to guess. and actually, this is the soul of the everyman, and that's not mysterious.
That's true.
The mystery is, how have we lasted this long? And you folks have hung in there with us too, so that's mysterious in and of itself. But tonight's show is literally a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Because tonight's show is about life, and life is a mystery.
True.
In fact, some people, it's a mystery how they get through every day. I think it's a mystery how any of us get through any day. So we are talking about the mystery of life, and the fact that no one has found it and no one can really find it, and the fact that Marg, we said this earlier, is that mystery is really what makes life what it is. I said, and you corrected me. I said, the big mystery of life is the fact that that death is always there, that you're always kind of dancing on the edge of it, and that you don't know what death is. It's the unknown. And you said nobody knows what life is either. So we exist between these two things that we know nothing about. No one knows anything about life. Life is a big mystery. And no one knows anything about death. And that's a big mystery. And so here we are, just as our Awesome Boss quote on the Awesome Boss website says, we are dancing on the edge of a mystery, and that is a good definition of what we are doing here.
Yeah. No, it's true. When you think of it, it seems trite to say, oh, well, you're dancing on the edge of life and death, and you sit there and you go, well, think about it just for a second. Can you really tell me what life is? And can you tell me anything about death?
No, not really. I mean, we much of what we do, I mean, as a species, as a people, is avoid thinking about those mysteries.
Actually, yes. Most people are very uncomfortable with this thought of, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I've got to pretend.
Right. Fake it till you make it. So the one of the big mysteries is the fact that we live as though we understood everything. Yet, if you try to pin any of us down, I'll speak for myself. Try to pin any of us down, we really can't come up with a concrete definition of what we're doing here. Can you explain yourself? No. No, I can't. I'm sorry. I have no excuse.
I have no idea.
I have no idea. So, I mean, to some extent, the soul of the everyman is sort of a pursuit from one mystery. It's sort of a journey from one mystery to another. We're incarnated. Let's just talk about one incarnation, because we can get lost into the incarnations. But we're incarnated. We come into this existence through no volition of our own that we can discern. There are people who talk about incarnating purposefully, and maybe that's true. But I don't think that anyone can
prove or disprove that.
Right, exactly. Prove or disprove that. So let's just leave that up as for a mystery. We'll leave that out there as a mystery, and then our lives progress into an uncertain and unknowable future. So we have to deal with that. You never know what's going to happen. We kind of we would like to know, desperately would like to know what's going to happen. We use all of, or a large portion of our thought is about the future or predicting, various levels of what's going to happen. The fact that you see something coming and you put your hand out and you catch a ball is a way of is some form of predicting the future. You're saying, well, I think if I do this, that I'll be in a position to intercept this object. But then once you get past a certain, a few seconds out, it's very difficult to predict the future. Look at the weathermen; they just no clue, yet they get paid. The weather is a mystery to these guys. Anything beyond basically 3 days out with rain or snow, they just can't figure it out. But we live very confidently in an incredibly uncertain world, so a large portion of that we have to kind of reconcile this incredible unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. So life is an act of courage in the face of mystery.
What I was thinking of was the definition of God, or his name.
Okay.
And he said his name is I Am.
Right.
So what I'd like to suggest is that the definition of man is I am what?
I am what?
Mm-hmm.
I like that, sort of. So,
in other words,
there's the mystery.
Right. We are the reflection of God's mystery in this universe. Mm-hmm. I am what, which is the question that man has always asked himself.
Or what am I?
Okay.
That's the question people ask, right? They're always asking for identity. Who am I? What am I?
Well, I'm thinking in terms of being what, instead of, you and I always go on opposite ends of a perspective.
Imagine that.
But I am what? Which is, how do I say this? It's similar to when a person is trying to find a reflection of themselves in another person. So this is kind of what our function is down here.
Well, I also want to back up and say, when we talk about mystery, and we're talking about, basically living down here in between mysteries, in between the mystery of life, the mystery of death, the mystery of non-existence, and even the mystery of why are we here? And then you say God. If you look at God, the I Am being sort of the eternal encapsulation of both those mysteries, both non-existence and existence, are encapsulated in those two words, I am, because it implies eternity. Am, in English, the word am is in essence being. But it's being in the sense of the personification. Can I say that? Is that a word? Personification of being, and being forever. So that is a mystery that we would, we struggle to figure out for ourselves. As you say, I am what? And if you look at each one of us as a reflection of the eternal, or as a reflection of the piece of the eternal, it can be a sort of a mysterious fragment of that incredibly infinite being, and that mystery, the mystery of why, why would something which is eternal put fragments of itself into the ephemeral? That mystery is also sort of deeply entrenched in us, in our souls, in the soul of every man.
How can that which is eternal, that which never ends, touch into the place of the transient, the ephemeral, the illusion?
the illusion. And that's something we've talked about in a couple of prior shows. Is the illusion of existence is in itself a mystery. This word, which seems so simple, it really pervades. It pervades everything we do down here. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen.
You mean the word mystery?
Yes, I'm sorry. That word, the word mystery, pervades everything that we do down here. We don't know where we've come from. In truth, we don't know where we're really going to. We don't know what the future holds. We spend a large part of our time thinking about what the future may hold. We don't really understand why we're here. Or one of the big mysteries, the quote-unquote mystery of life, is meaning. Why am I here? Why me? Why now? What should I do with my existence? The search for purpose, the search for purpose in one's life.
And the reason I said, I am what, is the basic need of an individual to begin to define themselves. Because that's primary.
Yeah.
You cannot operate unless you have some concept of oneself.
I think people are searching for that definition.
They do ask the questions of what and where and why and how, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, no. If you embrace the idea that the being state, the I am, is a mystery, then you understand that the what is so porous and the concepts flow that you begin, once you begin to explore that aspect of it, the other questions will come in. But the security that's needed, because if you cannot define yourself in any way, shape, or form, then the fear arises. Because suddenly there's a part of you that believes, well, does that mean I don't exist? And not being able or not existing is a very deep fear that any being has.
I think sort of the idea of non-existence or death is a mystery. The fact that that in not being able to define oneself or in being unsure, you expose. We mentioned earlier that a lot of what people spend a lot of their life trying not to think about where they came from or where they're going to, because these things are too scary, too mysterious. But the more you kind of contemplate your own purpose, or you try to say, who am I really? You expose that mystery, expose that fundamental question, and that exploration requires a great deal of courage, and it also requires a great deal of sort of, if you will, self-examination or examination of your of sort of the uncomfortableness of existence. If you just ignore it all, you say, well, yay, day is here, and maybe I'll get a cookie, and tomorrow's another day, I'm not going to worry about it. Yesterday's another day, I'm not going to worry about it. You don't expose the mystery, but if you're comfortable there, if people are comfortable right there with sort of the ever-present moment and not worrying about why existence and why not existence, that can be a way too.
I can't explain it, but I'm here, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the attitude, usually, until something pricks at it, and that which you had not considered intrudes.
Yeah. Exactly, but I think that there's one of the solutions to this stress of not knowing isn't not caring, although that is a solution. not that it's not caring. It's being comfortable with not knowing. In other words, realizing that your limitedness is never going to be able to know what the next moment brings, and being comfortable with it. So you can also come to a level of peace by saying, well, I understand that the I am what is what I am. I can't do any better than that. That I'm not eternal, that I can't pierce the veils of the future, and that I can't understand everything in my life, but to become comfortable with it. You know what I mean?
Well, to find a place for it.
Exactly.
Because you can't just blanket it, which is what I guess that was the interpretation of what I said. You're just blanketing it.
No, not what you said at all. I'm trying to say that the I am what is an existential question, which can make something very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. But you can explore it down to as deep as you want to go, and I don't think you'll ever find the bottom or the top.
Right. You cannot.
And
in this form, at least, you cannot.
And I think if you come to the realization, the end of self, where you realize that you cannot, and you accept that, that's also a form of balance. Finally realizing that the search itself is futile.
There is a limit that you will reach with this particular form, this body, this 3D existence, because that's when that step can be taken into, you're more than just this particular form. And therein is the expansion of your I am, because you are more than just what this physical body or this existence is dictating, or what you're able to comprehend, or what you're able to perceive or feel. But are you comfortable with that?
Well, I think that's the other side. That's the part you started with. I said, you can say to yourself, well, I'll never understand it, and I'll just be comfortable with that. And then I think if you continue to seek and realize that your limited self is not enough to understand this, there must be more. And then you come into you break through that sort of I'm comfortable with not knowing into I'm comfortable with reconnecting, with going beyond myself. You come to the end of self and you can be comfortable there. You can then go beyond self and say, I'm not the limited, I am what? I am much more. Mm-hmm. And then you're connecting up to the eternal. Then you're entering into the enlightened state. You're entering into the mystery. You're becoming the mystery.
You're becoming the mystery, and that is our adventure down here. Is to be able to become the mystery every moment of every day, which, frankly, again, is a very scary concept for most people, because they would like things in little neat boxes lined up that allows for predictability and be able to manipulate these little boxes. So your comfort zones are reinforced.
Right, and if you become the mystery, you have to die to self. You have to say...
You have to die to all the concepts that allowed you to feel, gee, well, I could do this and that and this and that. And it's that realization, if you can fully embrace it, changes everything. Because you no longer function as just, well, this is what I can do right now, and this is all I can figure out, and this is all I can understand, and, gee, it's not fair, I can't figure it out.
Well, I think those are the sort of the three, maybe there's 4 stages, but those are the 3 stages. The sort of the self, which is within this limited existence, and spends a lot of its time trying not to think about the fact that there's life and death. And then there's the stage where you get to the point where you realize that you want to understand, and you reach the end of self and you realize I can't understand and you can stop there. And then you can do, and I think one of, if not one, maybe more than one of Joseph Campbell's talked about entering into the mystery, breaking through the little you, breaking through the kind of enlightened you, and breaking out of you and falling into the mystery. And that was, in his mind, maybe not exactly perfectly correct, but in his mind, that was the power of what myth gave to man, was the relationship of taking some way of understanding or becoming one with the mystery.
It was breaking through limiting concepts. Myths were always used to break through what you thought you knew.
Yeah.
And told to you in such a way that you realized that you didn't encompass what the reality of what's happening, which is, one of the classic journey, of course, is the journey of the hero to find the father figure. I mean, it's just baseline. Again, going back to who am I?
Right.
Where have I come from? And it's finding your root.
Right.
And his tale of doing that, the hero's journey, realizing that you're up against odds that can be overwhelming, but you've already decided you're going to stand and walk through everything that's in front of you. And there's always help there. There's always help, a guide in some way.
Well, but I mean, part of the journey is when you exit from the familiar, you exit from the part of the world that you know, into the mysterious world, into the dark world, into the world that's below the world that's, in some ways, the true world versus the world that you kind of knew, that was all kind of safe and you understood and you knew how to do things. And then you go into a place where you don't understand and it's not safe, and you need, as you mentioned, the guide. So the his hero's journey was sort of the way of looking at life's journey. And when you got right down to the root of it, right down to the root of the hero's journey, it was everybody's journey, and was everybody's mission to come into contact with and start to understand the mystery below what we can see, what we can touch, what we can feel.
Yeah, and myths were supposed to allow you to extend your being, who you think you are, just break, shatter the illusion, take a step into another reality or an extended reality,
right,
and find truths about yourself that you then bring back to the world you thought you knew. But you're changed because of it.
Right, and that's another essential aspect that Campbell talks about, but I think it's an essential aspect of all contact with mystery, is that you leave the familiar, you come in contact with the very unfamiliar, and it changes you. You're as life changes us as we go through it, as unless you're among the most dedicated pretenders to not understand,
right?
You do encounter the mystery, and through that encounter, you are changed. And if it's perforce, in some of Campbell's stories, the hero is taken to the mystery perforce. Something happens that drags you into contact with the mystery. It's not something you wanted. It's not something you went out adventuring and you wanted. I'm going to go have an adventure with a mystery. I'm going to tackle the dragon.
Life will bring you to that point. Life, being the mystery, will bring you to that point, whether you like it or not.
Very true.
So that it's that embracing of the mystery that allows you to begin to take the next step.
Right. So regardless of our desire to avoid mystery, by coming here, we are destined to experience it some way, shape, or form. You can't avoid it. Even if you totally ignore it, you're going to be born and you're going to die. You're going to go back to the mystery, and
But that's basically it. You can spend your entire life avoiding life,
right,
trying to avoid death.
Right.
But death is a mystery, and you will return to it, regardless of what you may want or think, or how much money you may have, or if you put your whole body in a cryogenic sleep of some kind. It's like no.
Botox
your entire body.
Botox your body.
But you will return to the mystery, and you will have to look at truth.
Yeah, and in many ways, even if you don't see it yourself right away, you're going to see it in others. You're going to say, well, this person is in a different stage, and they're contacting, something which I don't understand right now. You lose somebody to death, they go into another space, and that contact with mystery, which is indirect, not direct, you're not dying, changes you.
Mm-hmm. It does. And maybe we can talk about that on the other side of
We're going to go to a mysterious break to the studio. And then we'll come back.
Rick Riordan fans, love mythology with plenty of action and humor? Destroyer's Blood is for you. The new fantasy novel by award-winning author Michael Lynes is book 1 of the adventures of Dev Kalian, the Blood series. Follow Dev and his magic sword Betrayer as they are suddenly attacked and forced to return to Olympus to fight in a war they want no part in. The world of men and gods is about to be destroyed by Zeus's ancient foe, and only Dev and Trey can stop him. The conflict never stops, and the amazing twist will have you on the edge of your seat. Act now while the ebook is on sale for only 99 cents. Destroyer's Blood is available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, Kobo, and fine e-tailers everywhere. And while you're there, get the free prequel, It's in the Blood, available for a limited time.
The Timeless Esoterica radio program with Dr. Bruce is broadcast on the fourth Monday of every month at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern on ArtistFirst.com. We explore topics including the paranormal, alien life, mysteries, conspiracies, hidden history, oddities, and much more. Each show will feature a special guest with exciting and thought-provoking discussion. Always keep an open mind, an open heart, live forever, and remember Dr. Bruce believes in you.
The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed is the latest book from Michael Lynes, the award-winning author of There is a Reaper. Featuring 13 original stories, this wide-ranging collection has everything. Forbidden love, gods versus demigods, weird invading aliens, sexy seductive artificial intelligence, and unusual passion between the living and the dead. All set amidst fantastic worlds of pain and loss and boundless joy. From the sublime to the macabre to the bittersweet, The Fat Man Gets Out of Bed will leave you breathless with laughter, brimming with tears, trembling with suspense. Available now on Amazon.com, Google Play, iTunes, Kobo, and fine e-tailers everywhere.
You are listening to The Soul of the Everyman on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. Let's get back to your hosts. It's Michael and Margaret Lyons.
And thank you very much, Z-Man. And welcome back to the second half hour of The Soul of the Everyman, where we are just engaged in mystery.
That's right.
And tonight's topic is mystery. And we've been talking a little bit about, the fact that you can't avoid, life itself is a mysterious journey. We don't know why we're here. We don't know who we are initially. We don't know, our journey is much of our journey is concerned with the definition of why and what and who we are. But in experiencing mystery, we are changed. And in experiencing life, we're going to run into the mysterious parts of it, the parts of life which seem completely outside of our experience, like death, for argument's sake. People in our lives are going to leave, and our relationships with them will be completely changed. Our own relationships with ourselves, with our understanding of the fact that we're not going to be here forever, or that we're not going to live forever, is changed. And so the inability to avoid mystery is in and of itself mysterious. You can't, no matter what you do, you can't insulate yourself truly, even though people do try.
Well, they're afraid. Anything that brings fear is what they will try to avoid. And if they're honest with themselves, to say, well, I can't talk about that. Okay? And it may not be your time to really consider, but life has a way of bringing reality to the forefront. And what you haven't looked at or approached will present itself in some way, shape, or form.
I like that phrase of yours when you say, that in essence the mystery is the underlying reality. Reality happens is, the old saying, life is what happens while you're making plans, but reality is what happens while you're thinking that you're just living your life. The unknown is also very real. It's more real than what our imagining of what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And when you think of it, and we talked about this before, just the way people put together their concept of living, which means that there's this huge plan going on in their head. And this is my agenda for the day, and I'm glad to do this and this and this and this, and get all this done. Nothing wrong with that, mind you. But the difficulty starts setting in when you believe that your whole purpose in doing that plan is just to check it off your list. If you can look at it in terms of a convenient, almost scheduling that may or may not happen, organizing it so that things can flow, instead of boxing it in and saying, okay, now we pick up this box and now we do this task and then we put it down and take the next one. It's like, no. The idea is life flows. Do you want to participate in that?
Well, I think the better way to look at what you're just saying is, if you try to control life, it will elude you. If you just try to, if you don't try to control, but you try to facilitate, you try to say, well, I'll be flexible. I'll allow for the mystery of what I can't control. I think that's sort of this, it's a more mature stage of dealing with reality. You can say to yourself, well, I'm being flexible. I'm being competent. I'm rolling with the punches. I'm letting my plans adapt and overcome, that sort of thing. And I think that's the beginning stages of understanding the mystery. That we don't control it, but we have to be flexible. But I think what happens to people is all of a sudden, no matter how flexible you are, the mystery, the true underlying reality catches you unprepared. And the part that people get into trouble with, the part at which they start to have fear is when they try to be prepared for everything, which you can never be,
right,
and then realize when they find that they aren't prepared for everything. This is an existential crisis where some people break. Where in essence the idea that I couldn't prepare for everything overwhelms you. Instead of you have to come to terms with the fact that if you can at that point, you have that choice: am I overwhelmed, or just say that there is no way that I can ever know, and live with that fact that I can never know what's really going to happen. The underlying reality is always a mystery. This idea that I can understand, I or anybody, any one of us can understand all possibilities and be prepared for somehow all possibilities. It denies the mystery, denies the fact that our individuality is too limited to understand all possibilities.
What you're saying at that point is that the only thing that exists is everything that I've considered.
Yes. Yes.
Reality is everything that I've thought about.
Right. Exactly. And if I haven't thought about it, it can't happen.
It doesn't exist if I haven't thought about it.
Right.
And you sit there and you go, do you realize how crazy that sounds?
Right. Well,
any idea? Because, just even as small children, you realize, I can't control everything.
I think children are quite honest about that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that concept, and children have that understanding that life is a mystery.
I think better than you pile the illusion on as you grow older.
Right, you do. You keep thinking that somehow I'm supposed to manage my life. I have to look like an adult somehow. So let me organize this over here and say, hey, look what I can do.
I've got my adult suit on.
Well, don't I look like an adult? Hey.
Hey.
And the truth is, if you can embrace a child's way of looking at life and understanding that, life is a mystery. And people don't like it when someone may say, oh, gee, can't predict that one. It's like, oh, yes, we can. We have to read up more on it. There's got to be information on the internet somewhere about this. Let's just read up on it. And I'm sitting there, so that makes you an expert because you read maybe a couple of articles.
Right.
And I check my sources, too. It's like, okay, has it occurred to you that maybe that there's something called, like, training and years of study that allow people to sort of extend their way of thinking into whole different patterns? In fact, it was funny. I was talking to my sister today, and we were talking about just how you learn. Like when you were in school, you had to learn another language, and you had two camps. One was like, well, it would be practical, like learn Spanish because that should be there should be an overriding population that will speak Spanish. It'll be useful. And the other one was, well, what about French, or how come we're not learning this language, German or Chinese or da da da? And I was like, do you know why you were required to learn a second language in school? Do you remember? And it had to do with understanding how another culture thinks. Because you have to learn how to put together not just the words, but the verbs and the tenses, where they go and how it all came together. And you have to think in a different way. And it creates concepts that may only be communicable in that particular language.
Right.
And that's why we were learning another language. Stretch your mind.
Mm.
So, reading about it on the internet, like 2 or 3 valid articles. So that means that you're an expert now.
Well, and I think the driving force behind it is, as you said, the idea that somehow you can become an expert, or somehow you can mitigate this this thing that you don't know how to be prepared for. You can become prepared for it. Again, if I consider it, it exists. I can be prepared for it. And the true realization of the mystery is that you can never, and that it's futile to try and prepare for every eventuality. You have to accept the fact that you cannot prepare for every eventuality. And then you have to get to the point where you say, well, not only can I not prepare for every eventuality, I can't even be flexible enough. I can't even guarantee that I'll have the resources, that I'll have the time left in my life to deal with the mystery or what may happen. So the acceptance of life's mysteries is an acceptance of the inability for us to understand them. You have to accept your basic incompetence at understanding mystery, and then you go and you break into the realm of myth, the realm of the unknown as an allegory. You're into art. You're into stories which bring you into an alternate reality. Mm-hmm. The way we deal, the way the limited reality deals with the unlimited mystery, because you have the limited people here, our little spheres, and then you have the unlimited mystery that we can't get to, is through these vehicles, through great art. Great art has an element of mystery. Through these incredible stories and myths, they touch upon the mystery. Through our philosophies and our relationships to spirit, through meditation, through religion, through ceremony, we put ourselves in touch with the mystery. If you look at Neolithic burials and even ours today, we're touching the mystery through ritual. We're touching the mystery through myth. We're touching the mystery through
ceremony.
Through ceremony. That it relates. You in participation in this ceremony, it changes you, but you are changed in a way that's recognized and somewhat formalized. I've experienced a portion of mystery, and here's how I did it. And you can talk about it through these sort of ceremonial steps. You can talk about the way that you lost this person and what you did to honor that and to touch that and to carry a piece of them with you, to change your own internal thought processes and soul to have a piece of the mystery that you were exposed to come inside.
Right.
And so we touch out there through these. They're flawed vehicles, but they're the only thing we've got. You're not touching the mystery through a Microsoft spreadsheet. Actually, they are very mysterious, but you're not touching the true mystery through there. You're touching it through the Mona Lisa smile. You're touching it through a Van Gogh sunflower. You're touching it through the Pietà. You're touching it through mystery, through ceremony, through meditation. That we can't really define how we're getting there. We're using these kind of precepts. Well, if you concentrate on your breath and have a mandala and understand, let yourself go, you'll touch the mystery, and you do. But there's many other incredibly valid ways, very different ways to touch the same mystery.
Right. Well, each person is unique. And I don't think people understand that your participation in life is unique.
Mm.
You know, they say, oh, yes, I'm unique. I've got this, I've got that. It's like, no. Your participation in life is unique. Your living of life is unique. And your interaction with mystery is unique.
Mm.
And you can't say, how do I say this? It's making space for people's journeys. Maybe that's the best way to term it. Because once you touch into what is unavoidable, like death, you're going to have to make a change in the way you've interacted with your world.
Mm.
Something has changed, and the change has come in your heart. You know, the loss of someone tears a hole in your heart. So how are you going to interact with the mystery of life here and death?
But I think there's something that you just said that's the incredibly important part of that, is that because you're unique and your interaction with the mystery is unique, the change in you is also unique, and your telling of your story of change is unique. And as each individual person experiences the unknowable mystery, they bring back their own unique fragment.
Mm-hmm.
And the almost imperative directive is that you share it, that you tell the story of how you were changed. And in telling of these stories and in hearing the story of someone else's unique contact with mystery, we are also indirectly changed. In other words, it's not just that you experience the mystery, and it's not just that you're changed. These are two important pieces. It's also important that you relate back the story of how you were changed, and to the extent that you can do it, to the extent that you bring the truth, or as much of the truth as you can, of your change and your interaction. That's the art. You know, when a true artist is in contact with their own unique piece of the mystery, and they're able to bring some portion of it back, like Ake Ains's incredible paintings. She's in contact with the mystery, with an incredible mystery, and brings it back through her art. And everybody who sees it is touched by the change that she's able to express, even though it's third hand at this point, at least. You know, it's come all the way through her, then through her artistry and her technique, and then re-perceived through you. And each person who perceives her testimony of the experience of the mystery is changed again in a different, unique way. So this sort of flow of mystery into what we call our reality is very subtle and very important.
Right. And it's embracing your own journey.
Mm-hmm.
Your own identifying and realizing that this is a unique experience.
And valid.
Yes. In this moment of now, this that you are feeling and seeing and perceiving and interacting with, what you choose to interact with, is part of your unique relationship to mystery.
Mm. I think that the validity of your experience is the truth that you're bringing back.
Mm-hmm. Because the test down here is, you know, will you get caught up in all the things that life is throwing at you, the illusion that is all around you?
Mm.
Will you be caught up with that and not engage in taking steps into the mystery that life is?
Mm.
Or do you have to cling to, I know what I have to do. I know this, I know that. This is what we've always done. This is the way we've always done it. And those are, people don't understand, thinking that way is a comfort zone.
Mm.
You're going right back to your pacifier. This is what I need. My nookie nookie.
Yes, you're nookie nookie. Go ahead.
But will you stand in your own mystery? I mean, standing there is the very first step. Living. I think it's on the graphic. Dance on the edge of mystery.
And the interesting thing about that, dancing is in itself an art form. You're not just standing on the edge of mystery.
Mm-hmm.
You're not loitering on the edge of mystery. You're dancing. Dancing implies joy. It implies expression. It implies connection. So when we dance, we abandon our precepts of self. We live in the moment, because the moment of your motion is the most important thing. So dancing on the edge of mystery is a wonderful way of showing that it's not static. It's dynamic. It's not thinking. It's acting. It's being on the edge of mystery. You know. And the edge part of it is important too, because it's not someplace you can just stand comfortably.
It's nothing to do.
You're on a precipice. You're on a knife. An edge is like a knife edge. You have to balance as you dance on the edge of mystery. You could fall into the mystery.
Well, what it brings, the image it always brought to mind for me is people who surf in Hawaii on those huge waves. Right. And they're always balanced on the edge of that change wave. And what they're doing is just finding the balance point and guiding their board from balance point to balance point to balance point. And if they don't, they get swallowed up.
Right. But the other great part about that is the wave moves of its own. You're balancing, you're dancing on the edge of mystery, but the mystery is powerful, occult. Don't try to stop the mystery, because it will swallow you whole.
You can't control that, and that's what scares people.
Yeah.
You want me to control that 40-foot wave? It's like, doesn't that seem silly?
Right. And when you look at it that way, when you're dancing on the edge of mystery, when you're dancing on the edge of a change wave, which is life, you've got to have courage. You've got to have balance. You've got to be moving. You've got to be dynamic, and you're going to get changed by it. It's moving you through something.
If you give in to fear, you lose your balance,
and you fall.
And the only thing you can do is just concentrate on keeping in that center point, as everything around you shifts and changes.
Yeah.
You wind up moving forward or backward, shifting your weight, keeping your center of balance.
Right. Hanging 10.
As everything around you is roiling. But in this magnificent wave form. Flow,
right? And that analogy, I think, works very well for mystery. The central thing that we have to understand is that no one knows where the wave comes from,
right?
And it doesn't matter,
right?
The only thing that matters is that you catch the wave, you get up on your board, you balance and dance.
Every moment of your life. And we seem to have reached the end of our hour.
We balanced our way all the way to the end.
The change wave is now done. So, I'm Margaret.
And I'm Michael. And this has been The Soul of the Everyman in a very mysterious way.
And thank you for listening.